If it hasn't been made clear so far by all of my other videos, Pinkie Pie is definitely my favorite pony because I can relate to her crazy, zany, over-the-top personality, given that's how I am around my friends. To some this may come off as annoying, but I see her overall goal to simply make every pony smile and bring happiness to all of Equestria very heartwarming. The ideals of peace that come from such a thing have always been a driving message in my works, and it's refreshing to see a character that embraces the light in such dark times. Also, she's easily the most hilarious of the main six, from her random word comedy to her lovely animation. That's something that always jumps out at me as well. Her animation is always so lively and full of bounce. It just fills my heart with sunshine and gives me an unmatched feeling of joy. Speaking of which, the art style in this issue has returned to be on par with the likes of the Rarity issue, and it captures Pinkie's vibrant animation in near perfection. The over-exaggerated facial expressions were just joyous. So yeah, it really seems like all the great assets of her character shine through here. Moving into the issue, we see that Twilight is studying when a big rumble catches her off guard. She promptly asks if it is an earthquake that has been scheduled for today, which is a nice nod to the fact that the Pegasi must still create natural disasters with the weather for some purpose. Though a moment later, it's revealed to be an adorable, presumably bouncing Pinkie Pie, who's just won a contest by drinking 315 bottles of an equestrian equivalent of Coke, a true testament to her awesome insanity, as that seems like something she would totally do. She invites Twi to go with her to her idol Poniachi's clown show, which is an interesting choice given her serious and studious demeanor. I feel like a better fit would have been Rainbow Dash, given her lighthearted style, as seen in the events of Griffin the Brush-Off, and her likelihood to connect to the mentor/idol craze that Pinkie feels for Poniachi due to her similar praise of the Wonderbolts. Twilight tells Pinkie to calm down and take deep breaths, which is a possible reference to Cadence's breathing trick from games ponies play. Soon after, Pinkie starts gushing about just how funny Poniachi is, telling how he made even the cold-hearted Princess Luna laugh and got a standing ovation from the Griffin Kingdom. Wow, there's a kingdom of griffins? I wonder if they're all jerks. She even gushes right to Poniachi, not recognizing him without all of his makeup, who seems really depressed. I think it's rather fascinating that he was a big role model for Pinkie, given her first time smiling was so long ago. I'd wager to say that one of the first things she did after leaving the rock farm was a lot of research on the emotion of joy and how to continue feeling it. Maybe at this point she stumbled upon one of Poniachi's books, and realizing all the joy she could spread to others, became instantly as happy, if not happier, than how she felt the first time she saw the Sonic Rainbow. His work then inspired her, and she came to the realization of her passions, later spelled out in the epically fantastic Smile Song. After his show, Pinkie learns the identity of Poniachi and explodes with excitement knowing she was meeting her idol. Poniachi brings up an excellent point in that when a pony gets older, it's harder for them to fulfill their talents, which must be super difficult to cope with, given the emphasis equestrian society puts on them. This is also interesting in the sense that Pinkie still has that youthful glow he so desperately desires, giving him a lot of hope for the future of the craft. Poniachi also states that he'd rather not milk a good thing, which is a nice sentiment given how countless creative people have continued brilliant careers and ideas only to have them become painfully stale over time. Pinkie Pie begins to cry at the end of a Master's era, which is heartbreaking, and then reverts to a depressive state similar to the one we've seen in Too Many Pinkie Pies, which she generally falls into when she's trying to problem solve. As a side note, we see Applejack has her apple stand set up in the background, making that a reoccurring idea. When Pinkie finally has a random burst of inspiration, she realizes that if a passion exists, one's dreams are never dead, and that she must help re-inspire Poniachi by giving back to him. And how else would Pinkie Pie do this than with a semi-official song? I thought this sequence was really cute, but unfortunately Poniachi is unconvinced. He does, however, compliment her on her performance, commenting on the things he thinks she could improve on. This gives Pinkie the idea to help Poniachi by reimagining and refocusing his talents, teaching his knowledge to a new generation of comedic ponies. It's really nice to see Pinkie once again accomplishing her goals to spread love, happiness, and smiles to every pony. With Poniachi's school being a huge success and Pinkie having learned a lot from her idol, everything seems to be at peace once more. In the end, her letter to Celestia essentially states that it's always good to keep reimagining your craft, and helping a friend fulfill their destiny is just as magical as fulfilling your own. Generally speaking, this issue is pretty good. I have some minor problems with the lack of references and the way it's handled in a few scenes, but mostly it's nitpicky stuff. As a Pinkie Pie issue, it certainly could have done a lot more, but the finished product was pretty thought-provoking as it is. Totally worth reading, as Pinkie's antics keep the whole thing interesting. Until next issue, this has been Jay-Z, the Comic Brony, saying it never hurts to read between the lines.